Okay, we're in Siman Taf Kuf Nun Daled. These are the halachas of Tisha Bav. The title of the Siman is Dvarim HaAsurim B'Tisha Bav Ubo Chafei Sifim. The things that are prohibited on Tisha Bav, and it has 25 sif in the Siman. So it's a very big Siman. The main halachas of Tisha Bav that are most applicable come out of this Siman right here. Comes the Machaber based on the Gemara at the end of Maseches Tainis Daf Lamed. Tisha Bav Asur B'Rechitza. On Tisha Bav it is prohibited to wash. Included in that category is rinsing hands, which all of these are going to get elaborated on. V'sicha. Sicha means anointing. For example, a person can put on cologne or deodorant. Une'ilas hasandal. You can't wear leather shoes. V'tashmish hamita. It is prohibited to have relations. V'asur likros b'Torah nevim ukesuvim. It is prohibited for a person to read Tanakh. There are certain things in Tanakh which are permissible, but generally the majority of it is prohibited. The Lishna Mishnah also it is prohibited to learn Mishnayos. Midrash. Also Midrash you can't learn. Some, as we'll see, will be permissible. Gemara, and you're not allowed to learn Gemara. Some, as we see, will. These are the general rules. Halachos, agados. You're not allowed to learn halacha. It's not pertaining to Tisha Bav. And agadata. Mishum Shenemar, because the pasuk says, Pekudei Hashem Yesharim Mesamchi Lev, the laws of Hashem that are straight gladden a person's heart. This pasuk is from Tehillim Perikid Tes. Yeah, they have it on top of the Aron Kodesh here. Yeah, good call. V'tinoko shel beis rabban batelim bo, and the children that are in yeshiva, they don't learn on this day. Aval korehu, they have off. Aval korehu be'iyov. Okay. But it is permissible for a person to read and to learn Iyov, it's a sefer nach, ubidvarim hara'im shabi Yirmiyah, and the bad matters that are in sefer Yirmiyah. V'im yesh b'neihem psukim nechama sarich ladalgam. If they have psukim that deal with the nechama, the consolation, so then you need to skip it. If they have to do with something positive, then you have to skip it. Let's start with the Mishnah Berurah. Mishnah Berurah Siv Katan Aleph, Asr b'Rechitza v'Asr l'kros b'Torah. It is prohibited to read, to do Rechitza, a washing, and to read out of the Torah. V'Asr b'Chol ilo dvarim kol hayom. Now these things that we just listed above are prohibited the entire day. Ve'afilu bein hashmashos sa'ad seitich l'chavim. And even in the twilight period, bein hashmashos until seitich l'chavim, when 3 stars come out. Ve'in mo'il hazeh. Mashis Palmar Mikon. It doesn't help if you daven Ma'ariv. For example, let's say you go to a shul minyan, you go to Mincha Ma'ariv. So you daven Ma'ariv earlier before Seitz. Doesn't matter. You have to wait for Seitz. You can't start learning then and these other things listed. Good. Those people that walk and that go amongst the non-Jews and they deal with Maser Umasim with business after Chatzos, after halachic midday, Oson mutar linol. So those people mikradin are allowed to actually wear leather shoes. Umehem lamdu kulam mahakal. And from those people that go amongst the goyim, everyone learned to be lenient. However, says the Mishnah Berurah, vayesh limchos biyadim. You should protest them that they should not wear leather shoes. Mishnah Berurah beis haraim, bad things. The Machaber said you could learn bad things.
Wait, so how does that come out? That they're allowed to wear leather shoes, but we're supposed to protest?
Yeah, meaning you should protest people that wear leather shoes, even if they're doing it mishum parnasa to go amongst the goyim. They should try to get other types of shoes. Yeah. Haraim, the Machaber said Mishnah Berurah of Katan Beis. You could. What? No, it's not. You should protest.
It started though. The first thing it said was that it's mutter.
Yeah, originally Mikra then it was mutter, and then other people learned out of leniency. But the Mishnah Berurah says you should protest them.
Original people, they could do it.
Right, you should protest them. You should tell them not to.
If you're doing for business, you're allowed. It's just if you're not doing it for business,
Okay. I see what you're saying. I mean, you should protest the people that learned to do it not for business. Okay, you should protest those people. Okay. Yeah.
How do you read that then?
Yeah. So you read it like this. Those people that go amongst the goyim for business after chatzos, so they're mutter to wear the shoes. Other people that weren't among the goyim, even people just in yeshiva, learned that you can wear leather shoes. You should protest just those people wearing leather shoes. Okay.
That makes sense.
That's how it reads. Okay. Mishnah Berurah Beis is going on the Machaber when he says you can read the bad things in Sefer Yirmiyah. Haraim v'ra'os akum asra l'kros. The bad things that happen amongst the non-Jews, you cannot read. Okay. Now, v'im hatinokos asher lomod af dvar maraim. With the children, you can't learn even bad things. Rak mutar lomod lo hachorban. Just it's permissible to learn about the destruction. De'inu ela sipar devarim umeshaber leiv hatinok. Because it's just a story and it breaks the heart of the children, so to say. V'yesh ma'achronim shesobrim demutar lomod im hatinok. There's some achronim that hold that you're allowed to learn with the children b'dvarim hara'im, bad things. Parenthetically, the Shar HaTzion, the letter Ches over here, it's really an extra letter and it gets taken out. Nonetheless, V'kan lo aser ella halimud jakatanim lomdim b'seder shalhem. Over here, they only prohibited to learn that which they generally learn in their order of the day. Dehainu Chumash and Gemara, meaning Chumash and Gemara.
Which it's saying that it's aser to teach kids, but then with regards to the Korban, you're allowed to.
Meaning you could teach them bad things, you just can't teach them the general things that they learn in yeshiva. That's the pshat.
I thought you could only teach them about the mice of the korban.
Yeah, so according to these this Yesham and Taz and others, so it could be any bad thing. Any bad thing. Yeah. Okay, now an interesting discussion of the Piskei Tshuvos Rav Rabinowitz brings over here in Os Aleph. He quotes a Yesham that we know that Hashem told Yeshua when they entered into Eretz Yisrael, it comes up in the beginning of Yeshua, Perak Aleph, Pasuk Ches, Hagita bo yomam v'layli, you should delve after the Torah and learn it day and night. So, and from there we learn the obligation to learn day and night. So is that Pasuk also, is there a mitzvah to learn on Tisha Bav as well? Meaning the halachos of Tisha Bav, then can you apply that Pasuk as in a chiyuv to learn? So he says, no. Even though you could learn bad things about Tisha B'Av, it's only Rishus. It's Rishus Ba'alma. It's just, you're allowed to. It's not a chova because of Talmud Torah. It's the side of Talmud Torah. And he says, so that's one side. Yeah? The other side is that no.
Who said that? What opinion?
That's one side. Yeah, he quotes down here in the foot in Harat too, the Mata Yehuda and others. The Yesh Chalkin though and say no, lo asi mili d'Rabbanan mevatel mili d'Oraisa. You can't have something mid-Rabbanan. The whole Tisha B'Av is just mid-Rabbanan, interestingly enough. It can't come and be mevatel something mid-Oraisa, meaning the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. So therefore, the pasuk of Hagita b'yom v'layla would be applied. He quotes in the Harat 3, that's from the Shadi Chemed and others as well. So it's an interesting discussion. However, he does say, even if you hold that the whole mitzvah of learning is just for Rishus, it's optional, there's no heter to learn in things that will lead to Hesach Hadas from the Avelus, that will lead to diversion of the mind. Meaning that's why you can't learn just regular Gemaras. And that's the pshat. So it's an interesting discussion.
Beautiful.
Yeah. The Aruch HaShulchan over here in Os Hey writes, he says anything that is basically Dvarim Ra'im, if it's said, if it's bad in Nach, you could learn that. And that which we said over here in the Gemara just said, just Yirmiyah, that's only because Yirmiyah has a lot of bad things. Also Eicha, Midrash Eicha, like we're going to learn, has a lot of bad things, but Hua didn't really anything hypothetically. That's what the Aruch HaShulchan says. Sif Beis, Umutter Lilomod Midrash Eicha Uperik Il Magalchin. It is permissible for a person to learn Midrash Eicha. That's actually what we were learning before Mincha today. You're allowed to learn Midrash Eicha. That's the Midrash Rabbah on Eicha. And you can learn the Perik that's located in the Gemara in Mo'i Katan called El Magalchin. V'chein Lomod Perish Eicha Perish Eov. You could also learn the explanations, the Perushim, the Mafarshim on Eicha and the Eov, which means if you want you can learn Rashi on Eicha Mesudas Tav, Mesudas Sion, V'chulu. You can learn the Perushim. Mishnah Berurah of Katan Gimel Eicha. V'chein Agadat HaChurban Beperach HaNizakin Ubeperach HaChilak. Similarly as well, you can learn the Agadat of the Churban in the Perek of Nizakin. That's in the Gemara in Gittin, Nun Hayam Abayz. It also goes to Nun Vav. Mishnah Berurah doesn't quote the location, so if you want to know the exact location, that's where you can learn. The story over there of Kamsa and Bar Kamsa, parenthetically, after Shachris today, that's what the rabbi was giving Shirin over here.
Greenblatt.
Rabbi Greenblatt. That's what he was giving Shiran, because you're allowed to learn that. And also you can learn as well Perik Chelek. That's in the end of Masechet Sanhedrin, the bad parts. Ulikros bechorban hanizkar biyosifon mutter. You could also learn about the destruction that's brought down in Yosifon, that will also be permissible. That's the Lavush or Mordechai Yafa. Mishnah B'Ruz of Katan Dalid Megalchin, meaning Af Agav the Yesh Bo Gam Kama Dine Menuda Umuchram Mikoma Komotu Lomod. The Mishnah is bothered by a question, even though Af Agav literally means even though, generally it means it's an implicit question. Implicit question also, it's called bevorning a question. It's not a direct question, it's implicit. Anyways, this question is, even though it has things about Niduya and Cherem are basically, you banish someone and they're in, they have to be isolated from the community, can't be amongst them. A lot of halachas that get applied. There's slight differences between Niduya and Cherem. Nonetheless, what do you see? He's asking a question. It doesn't have to do directly with necessarily Tisha Bav, how you allowed to learn it. It has Cherem, Niduya. Mikol makom, what still you can learn. That's the Chedesh. The give and take of the halachas, meaning if you go too in, then it'll be problematic. That's also the Taz writes, even in a place where it is permissible to learn, that's only if you're learning Pashut Pshat, but you can't really go very, very in. That'll be problematic. Even just thinking to explain something that's very stringent will be prohibited. Because there will be a certain level of happiness after you settle the difficulty that you originally have. The Aruch HaShulchan over here writes in Oz Daled, he says, Be'emes hadavar kasha ma'od v'talmid chacham halo yimed shebal korcha chaseichel yachshov kushya v'teretz. He says, logically, it's very difficult for an average person that's learning. Unwillingly, he's going to be thinking of a question and an answer. So, what's the pshat? Achlafi mashakasav ati shapir devadai tam umetikos haTorah yesh bekol divrei Torah avada. Whenever it comes to learning, there's a sweetness of learning, and there's the reasons and the depths behind all learning. Av devarim haravim, even bad things. Ela what then? Ela shehatzar, meaning the pain that you have from the anguish of Klal Yisrael and this avelus. So explains Rav Epstein, that's going to be mavatal hasimcha. It's a beautiful idea, meaning even if you ask a question and you give a teretz, you're right, you'll get a certain simcha of it. But the yisar, the pain of Klal Yisrael, is going to be mavatal the simcha. Oti sar umavatal hasimcha. The pain is going to come and cancel even that slight simcha that you could get. So therefore he says, Im kain, even if you come up with a chiddush, you ask a kasha on Mishnah B'Rutik learning. So still, the sar, the pain, is going to come and be mavatal b'tzimcha. That's Aruch HaShulchan.
Yes, on this.
Well, what you can only.
Meaning the Aruch HaShulchan.
Why can't you
speak out what he's
send it
doing?
out?
Even people
Why
you're
can't you
saying.
send it? Why can't you send it out to all learning then? If you're gonna say the sar is gonna keep you in place.
Right. So number one, you have to realize that you can't just learn anything. We're talking about specifically learning the bad things, and within learning the bad things, Aruch HaShulchan is trying to give a heter. If you go a little bit more in, and you have one question and then an answer. Nothing crazy. Even though you'll get some simcha, still the sar will come and it will be mavatal simcha. Sif Gimel. Yesh mi sha'isr lomod al yudei here. There are those that say, this is the agra. There are those that say that it's prohibited to learn through thinking. Now it says yesh mi sha'isr. Whenever it says yesh mi sha'amir, so whenever it says yesh amrim in the machaber, so it can mean a few things. Number one,
Rambam.
not everyone agrees.
Wait, where are we in the machaber?
Number two, yes, of Gimel. Number two,
It doesn't say.
it can be the Rambam doesn't say it. Yesh mi sha'oser or yesh amr, similar thing.
Oh, same thing. That's what
Number
I was asking.
two, well,
Is it, you're asking also in this lashon she'os mi
yesh mi
yesh mi
sha'oser.
she'os same as yesh mi she'os.
Yeah, it's similar to yesh amr.
Similar.
Those that prohibit. Whenever you see the machaber, it can mean one of a few things. Number one, not everyone agrees. Number two,
It says
the
different than
Rambam doesn't say it. That's a good one. Number three, is that it's just das yachid. It's just one opinion. So that's what it mean. Now, the chiddush over here, Ali de Hirur, is the Mishnah Berurah comes and says, Mishnah Berurah Sifkat and Hey, Ali de Hirur, l'chayra, why should it be usher if you verbally just think, if you just mentally think about it, why should it be prohibited? After Hirur Lav Kedibur Dami, which means even though we pass in like Rav Chizda in the Gemara Brachos Chafam Abeis, that's it. Thinking is not like speech, so l'chayra could be mutter if you're just mahar here. Still, Sha'ini Hacha, the Iker time Mishum Simcha. Simcha, which means the whole prohibition, the main reason that it's going to be problematic is because there's going to be a simcha. And when it comes to here or thinking about it, there's going to be simcha, which means even if you just learn in your head without enunciating, there's still going to be simcha. Therefore, it's going to be problematic even if you hold here her lav kedibur dami. And because of this reason, because of this reason, it will be prohibited to learn any type of drush expounding upon something, kasha, teretz, even on bad things. Because there will be a simcha. Okay, so this is obviously different than the Aruch HaShulchan. Technically, the Aruch HaShulchan is different than this. It is prohibited for a person to paskin halacha unless it's for a sick person and he needs it now. If you need halacha now, you could paskin it.
It's interesting. What about hearing shirim on Tisha Bav, for example? You hear different. It's not like
So
deep
it's
pilpul, but it's like your
bound.
kasha teretz. So it says even
It's about this time.
It's a kasha teretz, but you use the Aruch HaShulchan that the sar is going to be mevatel the simcha.
oh yeah,
You know.
yes too.
Okay, va'atzur ladun dimi memonos. The din hainu Torah. You can't judge or rule
Awesome.
rulings that have to do with money, financial.
Oh,
Din, judging is considered Torah. Based on a Gemara in Shabbos, Yom and Aleph. Mihu, im ein habale dinim yicholin lahamtin adamachar. If the people that are bringing the case, right? The English word for this is litigants.
Plaintiffs.
Plaintiffs, that's the word. Plaintiffs, yes, the plaintiffs. So if they are not able to wait until tomorrow, shenasuchim lidarcham, shenachutzim. It's urgent. They have to urgently go on their way, and they can't wait. They have to be on the way. Efshar Tashari, it's possible that it's mutter dehavi kerabim srichamo. It's like the majority, a mass that need him. Okay, so basically Chuvas over here brings in Os Gimel. You come up with a chiddush when you're learning. And you're worried you're going to forget the chiddush before nighttime. So you could write it just basically like subtitles. You write it in a short way, a brief reminder, and then after Tisha Bav, you write it down in a proper way. Which means you come up with a chiddush when you're learning. So just write down a small point so that you won't forget it at night.
You're not allowed to write.
Yeah, so it's another sugya that comes up later. But that's what he comes up with. The Chiddushei Torah has to do with the sugya. Okay, Sif Dalid says, Mutter likros kol seder hayom.
Wait, you're not allowed to write?
Yeah, it's a sugya that comes up later. Mikra
There
din.
was a guy sitting next to me once.
Write Torah.
I can write Torah.
Yeah,
You're supposed to write Torah, but you can journal them. It's probably fine.
yeah. So it comes up. It comes up more at the end of the siman
You think we're gonna get to it though?
in more detail today.
Yeah.
Because mutter right there, you should be able to. Sound like kids.
I don't know if we'll
Yeah,
get
I'm
to it
just
today.
saying that, like you're talking about my point?
Yeah, because if it be mutter right there, you should be able to write out of his kid.
Right. That was what I thought.
But it's sent to a
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it comes up at the end of the siman. That's where it comes up.
I got a little Kitzer pamphlet. You want me to take a look at it?
We'll do it after. Okay, there's a Shari Chuv over here at the end of the siman. Tira Maska Malach Sifkat and Chaf, where it gets discussed over there, where he says, he brings from Shari Knesset Gedola that on Tisha Bav they would correct the Sofer, he would correct the Sefer Torah, and he says, Shari Tshuva says the Thani Staiti. Maybe they needed it that day to read. And he says also in the Shari Tshuva that someone, he had a chiddush, or Piskei Tshuvos, he should not write it down. Shari Tshuva says, even though Chol Moed it could be mutter, Shiny Tisha Bav de Simcha hi lo kishikosev chedushi Torah. It's going to be a Simcha. V'gam she'inu rak yom echad ve'in chashash yichach. It's only one day, the Shari Tshuva says. So Shari Tshuva comes out l'chomer, you shouldn't write it down. Don't compare it to Chol Moed, which you could if you come up with the chiddush, because this is one day, you won't forget it. The Aruch HaShulchan brings over there. Yeah.
That was with. He's saying you can't do that because it'll lead to a simcha. But what about just stam, like not Torah then?
Not
or
Torah?
maybe, huh?
So then it would be probably problematic, not Torah.
Why? Because it's not. Maybe it wouldn't be such a. Maybe it wouldn't be a simcha.
Right, but it's considered.
I don't know why. Let's say the guy.
It could be considered a malacha.
Maybe he was writing questions, or maybe he was like underlining things that he wanted to go back to. I wasn't paying any attention, but maybe it wasn't something that would lead to simcha for him. So then, could he write?
Yeah, and that's the Piskei Tshuvos. Maybe that's what the Piskei Tshuvos is talking about when you could write it.
Okay.
And it won't be simcha. If you're going to lose it, it's a massive chiddush, so you don't want to lose Torah. That's the pshat. But if it's a simcha, then you really have to watch out.
But if it's not a simcha, it might be okay. If it's a massive chiddush or not a simcha.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Sif
So
Dalet.
you could read it if it's massive chiddush, short form, and if it's something that is just not just.
You're going to forget some for sure, you could, yeah.
Okay.
Sif Dalet. Ruben, you good? Okay. Mutter likras kol seder hayoyim and parshas karbanos. It's permissible for a person to recite the entire order of the day. We'll see what that means. And parshas karbanos. So Mishnah says Yom Makoman. You could say Ezeu Makoman u Midrash. Rabbi Shmuel. You could say Rabbi Shmuel Aimer. Ramah. Mutter lachzor kol parsha b'Tisha Bav. You could review the entire parsha on Tisha Bav. This is referring to the Chazan before he reads the parsha. Mishnah B'Risiv Katan Vav. Mutter likras kol seder hayom dahainu. You could recite Kriyat Shema with its brachas and everything that is connected to davening. Mishnah B'Zayin Uparshas Karbanos Mishnahs. You could read the Karbanos. The lo gara kol zeh mima shekorin b'Torah u'maftirin b'Navi. This isn't going to be inferior from that which we generally on Tisha Bav read out of the Torah, and we do the maftir in Navi as well. V'hakol mipnei shu seder yom. It's all seder yom. You have to do the order of the day, what you generally do. We know Hagin lo yimar tehillim v'shir hayichud b'mincha. The custom is to say Tehillim and Shir HaYichud at Mincha.
We wouldn't do that.
The Shara Tzion, Sivkat and Ches, brings, this is the real Sivkat and Chet, not the one that was quoted in the Mishnah Sivkat and Beis. That was a typo. Nonetheless, B'derech HaChaim Buchach De'ein Lo Yimar Tehillim Af Mincha. Derech HaChaim says, no, you don't do Tehillim even at Mincha. V'nogin Lo Mar Rak Shir HaYichud. You just say Shir HaYichud. Shir HaYichud is what? Believe it's the Shir Shal Yom. That's why if you notice after Shachris, we didn't say it.
Wait, so you
we said it Mincha.
Alright.
What? It comes from Tehillim. Maybe other parts of Tehillim. Back in the Mishnah.
So it's saying here you can't even see Tehillim.
Yeah. According to Derech HaChaim, you can't say. According to the Mishnah didn't bring it down. Mishnah didn't pass it like Derech HaChaim. He said you could say Tehillim. Back in the Mishnah, even though it's prohibited for a person to learn, so you could say, how are you allowed to do this? You need to say, since it's in the form of request, then it'll be permissible. Piskei Teshuvos brings those dalid. He says, "Asara choyle muter lo yomer tehelem gam belayla ubiyom Tisha Bav lefnei chatzos." If it's for a sick person, and Tehillim is being said for the sick person, then you could say Tehillim for that person. Continuing in the Mishnah Berurah, ube Pozna, which means is the name of a place in a certain place. Nohagan Laimar, they would have the custom to say the Shir Shel Yom, the Macharaso Shel Emesh V'Shel Hayom. Tricky line, which means they would say Shir Shel Yom. The Macharaso for the next day, Shel Emesh of yesterday, last night, and today. So they would say both. So one more time, Noagin Lomar, they would say the Shir Shel Yom, the Macharaso Shel Emesh V'Shel Hayom, meaning last night and today, V'chein Nachon, and that is what's correct to do. Mamados Bavadayin Lomar, Mamados, you for sure shouldn't say. Behind the Kaiman Simin Takanat Sif Dalid, Dein Lomar Pitum HaKatoris. You shouldn't say Pitum HaKatoris. It's in the Korbanos. She'ino Miseder Hayom. That's not really considered Seder Hayom.
Where are you reading now? Sorry.
The Kol Shekin, towards the end of Zion in the Mishnah Berurah. The Kol Shekin She'in Lomar Seder Korbanos HaKasuv B'sof Simin Aleph. All the more so you shouldn't say the Korbanos that are listed at the end of Simin Aleph, which are generally Korbanos that are optional and you do them and they have certain segulas. You shouldn't say those. Umasha Kasu B'Shulchan Aruch B'Parshas Korbanos Hainu Parshas Tamid. That which it says in the Shulchan Aruch over here, the Parsha of Korbanos, that's referring to the Parsha of the Korban Tamid. Meaning, when we say you could do Parshas Korbanos, that refers to the Tamid, which is more of a obligation to say. Aruch HaShulchan and Oz Vav says, Kol Seder HaTfilah Yispalalu Kimel B'chol Yom V'afilu Parshas Akedah V'Parshas HaKorbanos. Aruch HaShulchan says, whatever is part of Tfilah, you could have in even the Parsha of Akedah and the Korbanos. Piskei Teshuvos brings in Oz Daled. People that say it in a set way, they say certain Korbanos in a set way, Gam Hayom, also today as well, they could do it. Also other matters as well that they say before the davening. For example, Sheis Zechiros An Imamim could be done. Piskei Teshuvos says, Mishnah Berurah Katan Ches Umuter Lachzor HaParsha B'Tisha Bav. Literally, this means you could return and review the Parsha on Tisha Bav. What is it referring to? This isn't referring to the Parsha Shavua that you read or the Shnai Mikra Targum. This is referring to Hainu, meaning to say Hachazan. Hakori lo mutter l'lachzor parsha kodem shikra. The chazan, meaning the Baal Kori, the one that is going to be reading out of the Torah, it is permissible for him to review the parsha before he reads it. Specifically before. It seems like after would be problematic.
Really?
Yeah.
It just seems like it's of that day.
It seems
like to be learned all day if it's set for that day of Tishba.
Because look at what he says, kodem shikra. He says only before you read it.
Yeah, something mashma.
Mashma after would be problematic.
Are we talking about Eicha or are we talking about
no, the actual laning out of the Torah. Eicha you could do the whole day.
Right.
That's Eicha you could do the whole day. That's the previous sif that we saw.
So the special Tisha Bav laning.
Yeah, it's referring to Tisha Bav.
Yeah.
Eicha was which sif?
Wow.
Eicha was sif base.
Wow, that's a weird restriction.
And that's only for the Shel Ksibar too. The Chazan, someone say.
It's for him to practice.
Yeah, it's practice, exactly.
But I imagine it extends to anybody.
Yeah, anyone can.
But it's such an Indian of tshuva, you know what I mean?
Right.
Anyone can what?
Cannot.
Or cannot, right?
I was thinking that. I think that would be, if you see here, that's mashma, it's not.
Right. Okay. Hainu hachazan akori matalo lachzor parsha kodem shikra. The chazan that is reading, he could go over it before he reads the laning. Mashma after you can't. Hainu afilu b'mincha. This means even when it comes to mincha. Meaning as long as he's reading at mincha, he could do it before. The ilu b'shachris parsha ki tolid pshita. If it's referring to shachris, the parsha of ki tolid avada he could do. The me'in ha'ma'ora, it has to do with the ma'ora, with the situation and occurrence. So therefore, shachar savada would be mutter. The whole problem is mincha.
What's
getting more
what's
positive.
me'ora?
Occurrence, case. It has to do with the day. It has to be a little sad.
And is it speaking about only even the Haftorah
Yeah. Praying for that.
for mincha?
He's not, but it would be the same idea.
Yeah.
Seems like it could also
The
be
theme is a
referring
little
to
bit different.
Yeah, it could be referring to Haftarah. So yeah. Okay. So let's at least stop the recording now.